While writing the speech for my mother's funeral, I started to smile. My mom died last Tuesday from a sudden stroke, and I was completely lost trying to write her eulogy. She lived what seemed like such a quiet, unremarkable life. Never married, worked at the same boring accounting firm for 40 years, lived alone in the same tiny one-bedroom apartment since I was in college. What could I possibly say about someone who lived so ordinarily, so invisibly? She wasn't famous, didn't have amazing hobbies, never traveled anywhere exotic, just work, home, sleep, repeat for decades. I went to her cramped apartment to start packing her belongings and honestly dreaded finding nothing interesting. The place was exactly what you'd expect from a single woman in her 70s. Outdated furniture, faded photographs, shelves full of romance novels. But then I opened her bedroom closet and found something completely unexpected. Stacks and stacks of identical spiral notebooks, hundreds of them, all carefully numbered and dated, going back over 30 years. They filled 3 entire shelves from floor to ceiling. Curious, I grabbed the oldest one from 1994. The first page read, Day 1 saw Mrs. Chen from 4B struggling with heavy grocery bags at the building entrance. Helped carry them upstairs to her apartment. She started crying and told me no one had been kind to her since her husband died 6 months ago. Every single page contained a similar entry. Day after day, year after year, my mom had documented acts of kindness toward complete strangers. Day 847. Young homeless man at the downtown bus stop looked hungry and desperate. Bought him lunch from the deli across the street. Found out he hadn't eaten anything in 2 days and was trying to get to a job interview. I kept reading, completely mesmerized. The entries were everywhere. Grocery stores, parks, bus stops, her office building. Day 219. Little girl at Riverside Park was sitting alone on a bench crying. Her mom had gone to a job interview and couldn't afford childcare. Sat with her for 3 hours until mom returned. Bought her ice cream and helped with homework. Day 3 401. Elderly man in wheelchair at the pharmacy was struggling to reach his prescription. Pharmacist was too busy to help. Grabbed it for him and we talked for 20 minutes about his late wife. For 30 straight years, my supposedly ordinary mom had written down every single act of kindness she performed. The notebooks contained thousands of entries about bus fares paid for struggling students, groceries bought for single mothers, homework help for neighborhood kids whose parents worked late. But here's what made my heart stop. At the bottom of each entry, she'd written a small number in red ink. Sometimes 2, sometimes 8, sometimes 15. At first I thought it was some kind of coding system or maybe tracking money spent. I couldn't figure out what those numbers meant until I found a sealed envelope with my name on it, tucked inside the very last notebook. The letter was dated just 2 weeks before she died. My dearest daughter, if you're reading this, you've found my journals. I know they probably seem silly, but they were my greatest treasure. The red numbers at the bottom represent how many people I counted smiling because of each small act. The grocery store clerk who saw me help Mrs. Chen. The bus driver who watched me pay that young man's fare. The other parents at the park who saw me help that scared little girl. My hands were shaking as I continued reading. I started keeping track because I wanted to prove something to myself. That one ordinary, invisible person could create real happiness in the world, even in tiny ways. Every smile I caused meant someone's day got a little brighter. The letter continued. I counted secondary smiles too. When Mrs. Chen told her daughter about the nice lady who helped her. When that homeless man called his sister to say a stranger bought him lunch. When that little girl told her mom about the woman who stayed with her at the park. I grabbed a calculator and started adding up the red numbers from random notebooks. After 2 hours of careful calculations, I realized my supposedly unremarkable mom had documented creating over 847,000 individual moments of happiness over 3 decades. That's when I started smiling through my tears because I finally understood something profound. She wasn't ordinary at all. She was extraordinary in the most beautiful, hidden way possible. The next day, I opened her funeral speech by reading from day 1 and ended with the final count. By the time I finished, there wasn't a dry eye in the chapel, and I saw something my mom would have loved: 200 people smiling at the same time, bringing her total to 847,200.